My name is Marjorie Williams Smith, and I'm an artist living in Little Rock, Arkansas. The name of my exhibition at Hearn Fine Art is Black Fields, Crops Cultivated by Enslaved Africans, Cotton, Tobacco, Rice, and Sugar. What started me on this journey of Black Fields? I read an article in the New York Times Magazine section about 1619 Project. And in that magazine section was an article about sugar cultivation. And as I read that, I was upset that I didn't know about this history. I was upset with the cruelty of one person to another person, how lives were lost because of this cultivation. And I didn't quite know what to do with this anger. And I thought the best way for me to process this, I think, is to draw sugar field. As I was doing this drawing, I could see the rhythm of the plants and it looked so peaceful, but I know the reality that it was a harsh crop to cultivate. And I had someone come to the show and look at that drawing and said, I think I see a face in there. And I said, you probably do, because whenever I thought I saw a face, I tried to make it look a little bit more like a face, because we're still in there, right? The souls of these people are still there. As I'm working, I started to process what I had learned, but then I thought, what other crops had been cultivated other than the sugar? I already knew about cotton, but I found that tobacco and rice were also cultivated by enslaved Africans, and indigo. And all of these crops made America rich, but we didn't benefit. But the bigger picture is that we still don't benefit. I'm wanting people to kind of see maybe how it felt to be in these fields. Being out there in the hot sun, you have to think back, you're in 1600s, 1700s, but imagine if you had 50 other people out there, and it's hard work. So maybe they were singing to try to ease the day along. You don't have water bottles in your pocket. You don't have a fan. If you want to protect yourself from the sun, you're wearing long sleeves. It's hot, you're sweating. The fields were very dense with these sugar plants. There were things living in the field like rats. You've got mosquitoes, you had alligators, you had snakes, and they were out there, even young children, having to cut these stalks of cane. Now, the sugar cane could be 12 feet tall. It's heavy, and they're taking machetes or whatever and cutting this. And they work long hours, from sun up to literally sundown. So they say that for the enslaved, starting out as a child working daily, 12 hours a day, if you lived to be 30, you were lucky. So I wanted to portray that feeling for my viewer, really put them in that field. Everything in the show was created using metal point, which is drawing with a metal tool like silver. Silver point or metal point was a very old technique, dates back to the 15th, maybe 14th century. I use the metal point tools because I've been working with metal point for over 30 years. I know exactly what it'll do. There's something elusive about it. You can see values, but it's not the same value of a pencil, like a dark pencil. So I like that ethereal quality that it has, and how it's almost like it's still alive, because I said the silver tarnishes, it's going to change. So there's an element there of growth, of something processing. And I am captivated with that. That's my tool. So I have two examples of the tools that I use when I'm working with metal point. One is silver and one is copper. And the silver is actually a piece of wire, just like this. And you may be able to see, I don't know, but the tip end that's been exposed to the air is darker than this lower section here. You can actually see the color of the silver. But as it tarnishes, it's getting a little darker, right? So I know that over time, that's what's going to happen with my drawing wherever I put that metal on the page. Now the copper I got from hardware store, right? Electric wire has copper inside the plastic wiring, covering rather. And I just put this in this holder and I file them to a point so that then I'm able to draw with these tools. Can't erase this like you do pencil. So I have to be really thoughtful about where I'm putting my mark. Well, young Black people need to know about this because if we don't preserve our history, it will be lost, right? If we know about many ancient civilizations because that history has been maintained and had been shared down the centuries. If we don't keep our young people informed about their history, their ancestry, it's going to be lost. And I think that would just be detrimental to our people. So we really have to educate, inform. Even if it's painful to talk about it, maybe talk to your grandparents, talk to your aunts and uncles. Actually go back to places where your great-great-grandfather lived and look at the landscape and know where we have come from so that we can better plot our road forward. And what was the impact of slavery? If you start reading some contemporary authors, you're going to find that a lot of what's in place right now with struggle with race relations and the economy and people who are homeless, people who don't have the education, it's all stemming back from things that were in place during the time of slavery. And if we don't understand that and share that, make sure our children understand it, who's going to inform the next generation or the generation after that? We have to really do better about telling our family in the home. Can't expect the schools to do it. All right, curriculums are being structured by the majority of what they want to share. They don't necessarily want to share our story, our history. So we're going to have to do a better job of making sure our young children know what happened. What does that mean for us right now?